This video is a little bit special. We're going to be talking about elements of running a company. So it's more for those starting to own a business in Thailand or anywhere, and sort of business development perspective. And especially when you have to make tough decisions about what projects to do and how to think. Many of these things you learn if you take a business development, business administration. Many things are intuitive. Like, for example, for me, a lot of the concepts about cash flow is very intuitive. Like you can't go beyond a certain point in inventory and things like that before you get a lot of cash flow problems. So that's intuitive, but today we're going to talk about something that not so intuitive, but that's really important when you make decisions about what jobs to take. And that is that sometimes you actually should say no. There's many reasons for that. The company cannot do all the jobs that come in, at least over time, because maybe in the beginning there's not enough jobs, and then you should take more than you would later, just because that you learn as part of the process. So we also took some jobs in the beginning that we wouldn't take later, just because we needed to learn. But as you grow as a company, you need to be more selective, just because over time, to be able to survive as a company, you have to select your jobs. You just can't do everything. And you're also going to burn out, because if you try to do all jobs, even those that are not a good fit for your company, the problems that you're going to face with solving are not the ones that you have most experience with. You don't have the competence in the company, maybe, and you're going to be facing with financial challenges that you otherwise would not. So there's plenty of jobs that you should say no to. So we'll do some examples from our own work. Actually, some jobs are too big. And that can be, for example, for us, can be solar farms, very big installations, factory installations. We have tried in the past to do them, but now we have made a conscious decision to always refer them to one of our friend companies. Just because we have tried and also tried to work with partner to do some jobs as partnerships. It all leads to a lot of wasted time, and we have tried to engage engineers, we have tried to employ engineers. That's what you have to do if you want the big jobs. You need engineers that are specialized about these jobs in the company as employees. I think, anyway, you can in certain cases do them as subcontractors, but it's difficult to get the ones that you want. And if they suddenly start to drop out, you have to have really good contracts. And all of these things are really time consuming. And in Thailand, a contract, if you want to follow that up, if you feel that there was a breach, oh my God, you are like wasting your time on so many things that's not related to income, that your company is going to have big problems anyway. So too big is definitely one reason for us to not take it. And another one is that if we get or take one of these big jobs, what's going to happen to all our normal customers? Then we either have to have other teams on them, or we have to not take them for a while. That doesn't work, and that's one of the realizations that we have done. We have to take care of our main target group. That's what we do well, and we have to continue with that and nurture that group. So too big is definitely a very... And it can be a trap, because, of course, if you say, oh, well, we're almost there on the 60 million baht job, we almost got it, all of your friends going to say, wow, it's so cool, you can make so much money, and you should do it, and blah, blah. They don't think about, from the perspective of the long term on your business, what is your plan, and what do you have to do in detail to actually get this job and do it properly. That is something that those that give you advice rarely have. And if they have all the proper information, probably they will not recommend taking those big jobs, to be honest. Too small. If somebody comes to you and say they want a small solar system in the farm, 30, 40,000, these kind of systems are just not possible for us as a company to do, just because there are many, many companies that do these kind of jobs locally. Much better use them for local support. There's just not enough. First of all, the travel cost, employee costs, etc. would make us non-competitive. And then if you choose us anyway and find out later, oh my God, I could have saved so and so much money if I had done it locally, you're not going to be happy. So there's no way to make customers or the company happy, so to speak, with these projects. So the smallest size we do now is 5 kilowatt. We used to do 3 kilowatt. Even that is too small for us. It has very little value for the customer too, because the return on investment becomes too long, because the price of the system compared to the output is too small. So when I talk to customers, I try to explain these things, and I say like, try to do 5 kilowatt instead, and then you will have flexibility, and also you can use a lot more electricity in daytime for free, open more air conditions. Many people go with that then, or if they decide they not want 5 kilowatt, then they have to go to another company. Unfortunately, we did a few of them in the beginning, 3 kilowatt, and they all came back to us and said they want to expand. So that's another reason why it's just like, it's bad for the customer, bad for us, not good, too small. And this is also because it's all about maintaining the amount of knowledge we have in the company with the employee rates, the salary rates and everything. We have to do jobs that have a certain size to be able to get the income, to be able to maintain the salaries for the guys. And that's the difference between a not serious company and a serious company, that we want to maintain a proper skill level, which means we need higher salaries, which means that we need to look at every job, can we do it? It's not going to be good for the clients or for us if we start doing things where we are either going to lose money or not make enough money. And now I'm not talking about like the sort of gross money that we make, but after salaries and after everything. Obviously there have to be something after that too. So we have to think about after sales and absolutely everything. Personality crash or lack of knowledge, that can happen. Not too often, absolutely. But you can sometimes sense when you're out on a survey that the personality is just not there. Like, give you a few examples. There was a guy who said to me, I want PVC panels on the roof. So I asked him, what is PVC panels? Oh, why, you don't know? You work with solar, you don't know what PVC panels are? And he said, yeah, it's solar panels. You have to know that. And I said to him, solar panels, they are called PV panels. PVC in Thailand is normally plastic tubes, And then he got annoyed, and so it was not a good conversation. So kind of funny when you look back at it, but there's a kind of like the way that people talk, the way that people communicate. I'm not saying that if you have an aggressive, very sort of alpha way of communication, I'm not saying that necessarily wrong, but with me, it's not gonna work too often, just because I need the conversation to be listening on both parts. That we can talk, we can listen, and that if it's this kind of aggressive personality that's always correct, then I just can't handle it. It's not going to work over the long term. So Lack of knowledge, I mean, that has to be some serious lack of knowledge. Like if you have no clue how to work on a computer, you probably shouldn't have solar. Just because it's going to be difficult for you to understand what's happening. And also, only to get into the app is going to be problems. And we have a few customers like that, and they struggle a lot. And that ends up with calling us and like, can't get into the app, lost password. Okay, to lose a password one time is fine, but if you do it like 3-4 times, well, come on, make a system. It's like, give me a break. And then, like, in most cases when it is like that, the problem is not the app, but the client thinks so. So he just says, the system is bad. And he talks to his friends like, this system is not good, And then I go, it takes me 5 seconds to log in. So what has the client done wrong? Well, it's difficult for me to say, but I can imagine, like, for example, on the iPad, on iOS, if you don't give permission to the app, then you are not, maybe then you get some problems. Like, for me, it's difficult to diagnose exactly what's going on when a customer just says, like, it's not working, help me, I can't, this shit system is not. And then when I come, it takes me 5 seconds, it's working, everything is normal. Sometimes it's hard to diagnose, but then, if you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you are from the older generation and you know that you hate phones and you can have a problem connecting to the Wi-Fi, and you're kicking the computer more than you're typing, maybe it's not the best to have a solar system. Or at least then be honest and say that you need some special support, so maybe we can organize that. But often we can sense that during the service. But we have some of those customers from a long time ago that maybe should not have had solar. So we had another funny situation, like this one we were able to catch before the installation. Like, he was far away from us, and he was also acting a bit strange on a few webcam. We talked to him on the webcam, and then in the end his offer was, he didn't want to pay for a survey, even though it was 3 hours for the electrician to drive. But what he offered was to sleep there and to get a meal and then drive home the day after. That was his offer. And we just could not accept, unfortunately. First of all, it's like the safety of the electrician. I mean, this guy might be completely normal, but he might also not. I mean, it just doesn't work. I mean, we can, as I've said other place, we can do service for free, but then the client has to wait until we are not too far away. Then we do service for free, no problem. But if you want the electrician to drive 3 hours each way, then you have to pay. There is no other way. We can't like sleep in the loft or something like that. Miscommunication, yeah, that can happen. It's sort of related to these things, but it's like, if during the sort of emails and stuff there's a lot of miscommunication, then in the end the best thing is maybe not. It's not a good personality match. Like I had one guy, like I gave him many quotes, 3-4 quotes, and he just could not stop. I want one more quote because I want this and that and how you calculate blah blah blah. And he analyzed everything. To me it looked like a hobby. It didn't look like he wanted the solar system. It looked like he needed a hobby, and that was to analyze quotes. So it's we stopped that. Expectations not realistic. Yeah, that can absolutely happen. You have to be aware of that and be on the lookout for that. You can obviously talk, but if the client misunderstands the concepts, it can be difficult. So you have to really simplify. Like, what are the expectations? Simplify, simplify, simplify. And then hopefully you will have expectations. Like, even things that are on the first page in the contract, people come back to me and say they didn't know. If it was in italics on the first page, they still say they don't know. Like for example, on-grid systems, sometimes people come back to me and say, I thought the system would give power during power cuts. And it's like I tell every customer, so many times, and it is on page 1 of the contract, in every contract, but still we get this. But you can't repeat it often enough, so those things that are really important, we just repeat, and then lately we haven't gotten so many of them, but yeah, it can happen. Another example of that is that if the expectation, there was a client that had this expectation, he wanted off-grid and he said, it can never fail. That's a little bit kind of hard, like, all things fail. Even your own brain fails sometimes, like you are not perfect. You will trip when you walk on the stairs, computers fail. Nothing is forever working. So to have that expectation is just not realistic. So you have to accept a failure rate. The failure rate doesn't have to be high at all. I mean, our off-grid systems are extremely stable. And some, they just run for years and years and there's no problems. But that doesn't mean that we can tell them it will never fail. But because that's a lie. We can't say that, Technology is technology. It's like if somebody throws stones at your panels, the panels are going to fail. If somebody sets fire to your inverter, the inverter will fail. So price negotiations, this is a pretty difficult one, because some people think that you're on the market in the middle of the night and you're dealing with some pirate products that the salesman has 90% profit on or something like that. It's not like that. This is a business where the margins are small, and we really have to think about everything before we give a price. So we have standard prices. We don't have prices that are negotiable. If you ask for a price reduction, yeah, we can give sometimes on the quote, but we're only talking about a few thousand baht. Just because of that, just because we don't want everybody to know that, you can just talk to Christian, he will give you a 20% rebate. No, it doesn't work like that. We come out with the best price we have, and that's it. And if you think it's high, yeah, that's maybe, or you might think it's low, hopefully. But, it is what it is. It's a long time of working with the prices and trying to find the correct price both for the customer and for you, to be competitive, to keep the salaries up, to be alive, to offer to be alive over a long time, to offer the after sales we do. Then we come up with a price. Now what we do, if a client does something special for us, like for example gives us lunch every day, even dinner, very nice with the workers, helps the workers all the time, then we will help them too. Then we will say, like, if the customer asks, can you set up a socket, extra socket here, or do something like that, we will do it for free or at a very low price. So it's like, and that comes down to the personality match again. In those cases, the personalities match and we help each other, and then it's no problem to help the client, of course not. We have had many examples actually of people coming to the company and asking for very cheap systems and saying that they can have it as demo systems. We've had many people from many cities in Thailand come up with that plan. So what they are saying is that, yeah, I'm gonna have a system on my house and it can be a demo system that people can come and see. And for that you have to down 50%. It's like, okay. First, you have to realize what the 50% discount means. It actually means that you want us to lose money on the job. Not a little, but quite a lot, you know. And can we do that to have a system that maybe somebody's going to go and look at somewhere? No, it doesn't work. And even though the house might be nice or whatever, it just doesn't work. Now, I have to say that, like, this is a process for me too. All these things, like, it's not, I didn't come up with these when I started the company. This is, of course, learning as you go. And this is sort of something in the beginning, when people came to me with this, like they wanted like 50% discount on systems and stuff, I didn't really know what to answer because I hadn't thought it through properly. But it's obviously, you have to set up a list of what the pros can be and what the cons are, and what is the likelihood that certain amount of jobs are going to come from that, etc. A much better deal for us is that a person buys at the normal price, but then gets a certain per commission from every customer that comes from that system, from seeing that system. But funnily enough, none of those people wanted to go for a deal like that. So there you go. Then, you know, maybe it's a deal that's maybe not so good for the company, but maybe quite okay for them. Too far. If it's too far to go, let's say somebody calling me or writing from the islands or down Krabi or something, it is possible to make it profitable for us, but we just have to have much higher price because it's such long travel, especially the islands, because of the boats and everything. So even though it might be possible for us to give a quote, it's going to be very high just because of travel, you know. So then, do you really want us to give a quote that's going to be 20% higher than somebody else? I don't even think that you want a quote, you know. So, and that's what I tell people, like, if you think about it, it's not really going to work. Unless that you have no other choice, then you can come back to me. If you feel that going through other installers, other options, if you feel that you have no other choice than to go with us at 20-30% higher price, okay, then we can consider it, but normally that doesn't happen. Too risky. Okay, this is a big topic, but it's a very, very important one. Especially systems that are already non-functional. People want us to come and fix them, and that is super dangerous. Because let's say we try to fix a system and we fix it, then it goes wrong again. The client thinks now that it's our work that caused the error. You know, you can have something like that. And even though you have you can make agreements and contracts and blah, blah, but if you get a conflict, you will get a big problem anyway. It doesn't matter how it happened. So it's really risky. We have done it a few times, but then simplified. Like, instead of trying to fix it, we have said, okay, we can install a new inverter, use your own panels. If you get problems with your panels, that's separate from us. That is nothing to, that can work if the client is, if we feel okay in every way. Let's say we have known the client for a long time. So that's in just a few cases possible, but in most cases not. The risk is just too high. So yeah, I mean, I think that's enough for now. It's a long video anyway, and quite a lot of examples of as a new company, if you are in this kind of construction business or any kind of business, I guess you can use a lot of these things. And so good luck.